Hey guys, Barrett here. Welcome back to the video. Today we're talking about finesse. Finesse, of course, being one of the primary principles behind pickleball, the thing that we all want to get better at. I'm going to give you 4 tips. I'm going to save the best one for last, so stick around. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, feel free to do so. Just scroll on down, hit that sub button. Would really appreciate it anyway. Here are some tips about finesse in pickleball. Okay, the first really important thing to understand about finesse in pickleball is your momentum, okay? You have to understand that if you're running with this thing, it also counts as your swing, okay? So just watch this for a second. I'm gonna swing through while being stationary, okay? If I went like this and I were to hit the ball is obviously gonna go forward, okay? But it also counts if I were to be running. If I were running, my paddle is moving as well. So even though you're not swinging and actually using your hand to hit the ball, you're still running while holding onto this thing. So if you hit it while you're running, you're gonna get much more power. If I were to swing normally like I just showed you, okay, but then I were also to run and do this, the ball's gonna go much further because I'm running and swinging at the same time. And that's really the critical thing to understand about momentum when it comes to finesse. A lot of people lose finesse because they're trying to run and hit the ball at the same time. Now, there are plenty of areas where you do want to run and hit the ball at the same time, like with the return of serve, okay? But for the most part, you gotta be careful. Let me show you. Now, if I were to hit that shot normally, that nice little fourth that she gave me there, and I were to run through that ball, it would definitely have been a pop-up. Instead, I had to slow down in the middle of the kitchen in order to take that nice little dink. You have to learn how to slow down. It doesn't mean that you have to stop. You just have to slow down. Okay. So did you notice how that worked? Slow down first. I had to slow the momentum down so that I could take that controlled stroke. So hopefully that made sense. Watch out for the momentum. If you've got momentum coming forward, you're automatically applying power to the ball even if you don't actually take a conscious stroke. So be careful for that. Okay, number 2, don't jab at it. Let me show you what I mean by that. Notice how I'm just jabbing it really quickly. There are times when you're gonna have to do that, as if, you know, like a ball was way behind you or something like that. But if you're just dinking normally, you don't want to jab the ball. You lose so much control. It's almost hilarious, right? You lose so much control when you jab at the ball. Okay, let me show you an alternative. What I'm going to focus on instead is making a smooth stroke that has some sort of backswing and some sort of follow through. Okay, there's no need to come all the way back here on your follow through with a dink or something like that. And there's certainly no need to come all the way back here on just a regular dink, okay? But you want to have some kind of backswing and some kind of follow through, and to make that experience smooth and flowing, okay? Watch. I'm just taking it back a little bit and then following through the ball. Like this. Notice how there's no jabbing, just a smooth stroke like that. Okay, let me get from this angle so I can show you a little bit better. Watch. Come right through it like that. And one thing you can do, again, you don't really necessarily need a huge follow through. There's no need for that, but it can be a good visual tool for you to practice with. So come back and then you can see the paddle right in front of you. That tells you that you made a smooth stroke through the ball, okay? Try to have that smooth, buttery experience. It's gonna make a big difference. Okay, moving on to number 3 here. People oftentimes get very nervous when it comes to finesse because they're terrified of hitting the ball into the net. Now I get that, I really do get that. And we've got to train yourself to get over that fear, that sort of timid kind of behavior. So If the pattern is very clear and you're hitting the ball way too hard and way too high like this, and you're doing that all the time, it's probably because you're afraid of hitting the ball into the net. So you have to force yourself to do the exact opposite. It's normalization. Right now, you feel like you're doing a normal stroke. You feel like the stroke you're doing is going to be fine, it's going to land in the kitchen, and you're good to go. But that's not the case. So you have to force yourself to do the exact opposite, which means that if, for example, you're hitting the ball way too high, way too hard, you have to feel like you're going to actually hit it into the net. You have to force yourself, just for practice, to hit the ball into the net. Okay, so if I'm hitting the ball way too high and way too hard, I have to instead purposefully hit the ball into the net. And I can't do it right now. There we go. If you can learn how to break that normalization cycle and force yourself to do the opposite of what you're doing, you're going to eventually find the balance between those two things. Okay, so again, if I'm hitting the ball too high, I have to force myself to hit it into the net. That's going to bring you back to neutral. Okay, the other thing is you have to force yourself to do this. It may be really uncomfortable, especially on the third shot. That's where it's really prevalent, is people hit the ball way too hard because they're just so scared of hitting into the net. Force yourself to do this. You do it once, that muscle memory gets in there, and everything sort of compiles on itself, and you'll eventually get better. Okay, final tip, and the most important by far, soft hands or a loose grip. You have to learn how to let go of this paddle. If you have a death grip on this thing and you're holding it as tight as you can, you're not going to get the kind of control and finesse that you want in pickleball. You have to learn how to let go of this thing, okay? The way you know that you have a loose grip is if you can easily peel your fingers off like this. If you're right after a dink rally or something, if you have your grip pressure the same, right, to keep the same, and you can hardly get your finger off of here, that means that you have a death grip. You have to have the confidence to let go of this paddle. One thing you can do is hold the paddle with your index finger and your thumb only, like this, and just do that. And just practice dinking with just that, and it'll give you the feeling. You don't want to do this in a real game, obviously, but it'll give you the feeling of what finesse feels like, at least when it comes to dinking and anything else really. Okay, that is a really good way to practice, and then eventually you can put all the fingers back on there. Another thing you can do, and this is especially prevalent on shots like the third or even the fifth, is right before you hit the ball, give your grip a little bit of a shake and move the paddle around. You see how the paddle is like, it's kind of a wave effect. If I had a death grip, it would do this. Only the top end would shake like that. But if I let go, the whole thing is going to move. Even the grip is going to move down here. So give yourself a little bit of a shake right before you hit the shot, and then you can do it. Now keep in mind, on the third shot drop, you don't necessarily want to have the paddle let go of it entirely, but you do want to have a soft grip. Have the confidence and the determination to try this. You have to just try it and let go of this grip when you're practicing. It'll help immensely. It's just a big, big principle of having finesse in pickleball. Okay, so try that out. I know it's going to be a little bit challenging, but if you can get used to it, it's really going to change the way you play. All right, guys, that's it. Those are tips for better finesse in pickleball. I hope that was helpful. Head on over to pickleballkitchen.com. Got a bunch of stuff on there, email list, podcast, articles, all that sort of stuff. If you haven't yet subbed to my channel, just scroll down a little bit, hit that subscribe button. Would really, really appreciate it. Guys, I hope that was helpful. As usual, I'll see you next time.